In 2017, the United Nations declared 16th May the International Day of Living Together in Peace, with the aim to promote peace, tolerance, inclusion, understanding, and solidarity across the world. Each year, this day is celebrated to reaffirm the commitments of international cooperation to solve challenges of an economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian character, and in promoting and encouraging respect for human rights and fundamental freedom for all. In this challenging crisis of COVID-19, let's spread compassion, kindness, hope, and establish a peaceful world. Let's welcome our vulnerable panelist, Dr. Palio Troiani from Italy. He has done his doctorates of philosophy in theology with the topic and understanding of the aesthetic part of a Hindu-Christian sannyasi monk. He has also done his PhD in philosophy. In 2013, he was teaching as Professor Lator at the Pontifical Athenaeum Sant'Anselmo in Rome, holder of the chair Monasticism and Mysticism in Religions. Recently teaching history of the religious traditions at the Department of Letters and Philosophy of the University of Trento. Dr. Troiani takes lectures at the Center of Interreligious Studies, former Institute of Interdisciplinary Studies on Religions and Cultures of the Pontifical Gregorian University. His research interest is focused on the philosophical, theological, and mystical confrontations between Christianity and the religions of India. In this area, he also dealt with interreligious dialogues, Gandhian non-violence, ecology, and vegetarianism. He is a member of the study table on Eastern religions, the Taylor Lecture Study Group, and the Second Vatican Council, responsible for religions for peace relations with the academic world and with the DIM and MID. He has done many publications such as Non-Christian Monasticism, The Christ for All, The Right to Religious Freedom, and many more, and participated in many national and international conferences. Today in our panel, we have esteemed guest, Haji Syed Salman Chishti from Ajmer Sharif. He's been the 26th generation hereditary custodian of the most acknowledged and renowned center of peace and unity for the whole world and humanity, the blessed Dargah Ajmer Sharif Sufi Shireen of the Sufi Grand Master Teacher Hazrat Khwaja Mu'ainuddin Hasan Chishti. He has done his bachelor's in economics and commerce from Wilson College, University of Mumbai. His passion and deep longing towards the mystic world of Sufi and spiritual cultures of the world has enabled him to travel across various Sufi destinations globally, where he has been regularly invited to speak and participate in international Sufi and inter-social conferences on spirituality, interfaith dialogues, importance of Sufi musical renderings in Chishti Sufi order, Sufi arts, Sufi poetry, Sufi literature, and represented the Chishti Sufi order in countries as diverse as Al-Hijaz, Arabian Peninsula, Egypt, Turkey, Morocco, United States of America, United Kingdoms, Bangladesh, etc. He has been heading the Chishti Foundation Ajmer Sharif as the managing trustee and chairman for last 10 years, of which he is also the founding member along with the elders of the Chishti Sufi family. Our next eminent panelist is Dr. Anselmo Damiano from Italy. He is a professor of Physics Department, Pisa University. He works on quantum gravity, primordial cosmology, and particle physics. He is author on about 100 research papers published in top international journals. He is the author of scientific books, as well as books on the popularization of the basic ideas of quantum physics and their philosophical interpretations. He wrote a screenplay based on an idea suggested by quantum mechanics. His research includes quantum field theory, renormalization group flow, gauge theory, quantum gravity, conformal field theory, anomalies, etc. His goal is to upgrade the formulation of quantum field theory to better address challenging open problems. Search for theories that can be properly defined even if they are not renormalizable by power counting, and gain insight about quantum gravity. We also have with us Mr. Pierre Sprickles from Marseille, France. He started working as a mate on freighters in the merchant marine. In the United States, he worked as a French editor in a publishing company. He became a Baha'i in the US in 1970. In France, he worked as a guide for tourists. He is specialized in architecture, French medieval history, and the province of Périgord, and wrote several books about the Baha'i religion. He has been translating Baha'i literature, Baha'i sacred writings, and Baha'i inspired books for 40 years. I also welcome Honorable Shri Sukhdev Volker-Britz, founder of Yoga Vidya in Germany, and Swami Suryanandaji, President European Yoga Federation Italy, for their loving presence. Will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomar is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. Welcome all our guests for the panel discussion.
Namaste, everybody. My name is Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar. On behalf of United Consciousness, I welcome our respected guests and all the audience from different parts of the world. Dear friends, United Consciousness is a global organization that operates across the globe. And the mission of United Consciousness is one consciousness, one being. Vision of United Consciousness is happiness here and now. In the pursuit of our vision of happiness, United Consciousness, after research, has identified that there are 14 divides that had snatched happiness from this planet Earth. First divide being prosperity, rich versus poor. Millions of people die out of hunger every year. Second divide is gender, male versus female. Female had to fight for millennia just to get voting rights and equality. Third is habitat, habitant versus habitat. And then habitants start exploiting the habitat. Fourth is region. This region versus that region divide leads to civil wars and killing millions of people. Fifth is racism, leads to Holocaust. Sixth is casteism. Whole Indian subcontinent is suffering from this problem of casteism. Seventh is status. Winning clan or losing clan. Winning clan will enslave the losing clan, killing millions of people in slave trade historically. Eighth is color, white versus black, the skin color. Ninth is class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 citizens. People are just people, they can't be class 1. Martin Luther King used to say that you can't create a class 1 nation with class 2 citizens in it. 10th is sex orientation. Lesbian, gay, transgenders are still struggling to get respect in the society. 11th is species, when human considers themselves owners of all non-human species. And then killing 77 billion animals every year just for the taste buds. 12th is fanatic nationalism. When I say that my nation is greater than yours, it leads to world wars, 2 world wars. Loving nation is good. Saying my nation is great is good, but when you use superlatives and comparatives, it creates problems. 13th is orthodoxy of religion. Religion is the foundation of our existence. But when it becomes orthodox, illogical, then it suffocates and leads to 1,000 years of crusade. And 14th is intolerant thoughts. When I won't tolerate you in my thoughts and you won't tolerate me. Communism versus capitalism, 50 years of Cold War led to creation of 100,000 nuclear weapons. So United Consciousness decided that be a part of the solution. It is easy to criticize, better to contribute. Then we started this series where we are inviting experts from different sacred religions to talk about what should be the basic human values that should be incorporated in every human being so that human beings can see divine beyond divides. So 3 basic human values that we identified to begin the discussion with is first, compassion. Second is equality. Third is eco-friendliness. And in this series, we launched this series on 16th of May, that is United Nations International Day of Living Together in Peace. In that first series of discussion, we had experts from Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Taoism, and psychology. We also decided that not only sacred religions, we should have representatives of science also to contribute in that discussion, because even science and sacred religion, they work for truth. Where science is exploration of truth, sacred religion is for experience of truth. So they work on the same lines. So we invited experts from quantum physics, psychology, anthropology, and neurosciences. We also thought that along with that, there is a big tribal culture who stay with nature. They may not have any representative book, but through oral tradition, they have learned so much about life. So, in coming sessions, we will be inviting those also, Aborigines from Africa, Red Indians from America, and the journey continues. So, this is the quick understanding and the background of this event today. I welcome again all our respective guests. We have Dr. Demiano from Italy, a quantum physicist. We welcome you, sir. We have Pierre from France. We welcome you, sir.
Yes.
And we have Dr. Triani as a representative of Christianity. We welcome you, sir. So let's begin this discussion today. What a wonderful day today. Science and sacred coming together. So my first question will be about compassion. So I will begin with Dr. Triani with a small and beautiful question of compassion, as compassion is said to be the foundation of every religion. So we will be very happy to know from you what is the basic vision of Christianity about compassion. Over to you, sir.
Okay. To speak about compassion in Christianity is to speak about the essence of Christianity. John's Gospel reveals the nature of God, affirming that God is love. Jesus, as being Son and revelation of God, is the benchmark of this love. He gives away his life for his enemies. To explain the compassion of Christ, it is necessary to understand the mystery of the cross. The Jewish Christian tradition is based on the concept of sin, a sin that falls on the priest and the whole community. Already in the Jewish tradition, there was the custom of abandoning a goat in the desert. It is the feast of Yom Kippur, after it was loaded with the sins of the community. Jesus emulated this atoning dynamic by taking upon himself the sins of men. This is an act of compassion, and Jesus invites Christians to have compassion by also offering their lives for their friends.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Triani. We understood that so beautifully. You said that God is love, and Jesus gave away his life to the enemies as a compassion towards everybody. And he took sins of everybody on his own shoulders. So loving compassion is the essence of Christianity, you rightly said. We will go towards Mr. Pierre, who represents Baha'i religion. Dr. Pierre, Christianity says God is love. We'll be very happy to know what Baha'i religion talks about compassion. You may need to unmute. Admin, can you? Yes, please.
It's okay. Dr. Triani said love is the foundation of religion. And Baha'is believe that this is true of every religion. And I couldn't be better than to read some of the passages that Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i religion, wrote about that. He said, consort with all the peoples, kindreds, and religions of the world with the utmost truthfulness, uprightness, faithfulness, kindliness, goodwill, and friendliness, that all the world of being may be filled with the holy ecstasy of the grace of God, that ignorance, enmity, hate, and rancor may vanish from the world, and the darkness of estrangement amidst the people and kindred of the world may give way to the light of unity. And I could say this is the foundation of the Baha'i religion, like in any other.
Perfect. So, Dr. P.S. said that Baha'i religion talks about it, Baha'i religion says about the grace of God to see all-encompassing of all religion for every human on the planet, for every person on the planet, loving compassion for everybody, and to remove hatred and ignorance and establish unity. Thank you very much for a preliminary message. Now we'll be very happy to listen the point of view of quantum physics about compassion. When I met Dr. Damiano first, he said, I am not representing quantum physics, I am representing myself. So we'll be very happy to know from you, Dr. Damiano, what is the view of the latest science of present and future quantum physics about compassion. But before you say, if you could also explain to our audience in 1 or 2 lines, what is quantum physics? What is quantum physics in 2 lines, and then we answer the question.
Yeah, because indeed the answer will follow from just explaining what quantum physics is and what it is about. People look at science for answers often, and indeed science today can give many answers. But since in the past science ventured into giving the opposite answers, it's useful to make a brief recap. Very different were the ideas about ourselves, life, and the universe at the end of the 18th century, for example, where the laws of physics were thought to be deterministic. Because around us it seems so. What is determinism? It's very simple to explain. There is a one-to-one correspondence between past, present, and future. So there is no choice, no freedom, no creativity, no free will, no will. One past leads to a unique predetermined present following from some equations, and that present will lead to a unique predetermined future. And then if you think of living beings in this picture, living beings are like computers, machines, executing orders. Pretty boring picture, you may say. And indeed, at the beginning of the 19th century, everything in this understanding was turned upside down by quantum mechanics, which showed that in the microscopic nature, at the level of atoms and below, there is no determinism, but the opposite, quantum uncertainty. And that basically means that instead of having a one-to-one correspondence between past, present, and future, you have bifurcations, trifurcations, multifications, and that means a one-to-many. So one past has many options for the present, and only one will be chosen. And from that, you will have many options for the future, and only one will be chosen. And you may ask, who makes the choice? That is nature. That is what nature is about, the quantum phenomenon, with no will, but no determinism, with a variety of possibilities, and the choice is made blindly, with no justification, by pure chance. Now, you can ask yourself, okay, but if there are many options and only one is the chosen one, there is a privilege. And that's not true. There is no privilege in nature. that coming to our second topic, there is more something like inequality, because only one option is chosen at a time. But later on, when the identical situation will occur again, another option will be chosen. And the third time, another option will be chosen. So nature is extremely rich and diverse, and every path will be pursued, not once, but infinitely many times. And so the first answer, or the first piece of knowledge we can derive from this, is that in nature, we do not have the chain or the enchainment of determinism, but rather the cosmos, the universe, is a relentless and ubiquitous source of diversity. Multiplication means that, and every path is pursued, and not only once, but infinitely many times. So what about compassion? Compassion is an active behavior. And you might say that from the point of view of physics, precisely because every option is pursued and equal, physics is extremely detached and neutral and doesn't push you towards one answer or another answer. So what is the message of physics? What should you do? Should you be detached because you see that every option is pursued and then there is nothing of value? Or should you get involved because you see that every phenomenon in nature is a throw of dice? It's give it a try, take risks. You have only one life, and life is precisely that throw of dice, that choice among several options. So make yours. Or should you live and let live? Or should you embrace this religion or another religion? Simply, nature does not tell you anything. But nature tells you all these options. This is nature. And every option you choose is natural and is one of the opportunities you have. So, for example, in the past and even in the present, you may know that many groups of people use the argument against other groups of people, often minorities or single individuals. They say our views, our behaviors, our ideas, the way we live is natural and yours is not. Or yours is, even worse, against nature. Well, that's simply lying, because if a choice, a thought, an idea, a way of behaving, a choice of life is physically possible, not only it is natural, but it is pursued by nature as one of those options, and it is pursued infinitely many times. So you may give it a try, and since every choice is blind, you do not even need to justify yourself. So when people say that what you do is against nature, they do not actually mean nature. They refer to statistical frequency, normality of a behavior. And that is quite dangerous because, you know, if you go with statistical frequency, you may well conclude that the most unnatural thing in the universe is life. Because life, now we understand, it's not what at the end of the 18th century people thought, a machine, but it is a way to amplify those quantum phenomena that make choices from the microscopic scales to the macroscopic scales. Putting many, many atoms together, you can build macroscopic objects. But most of the times around us, those effects are suppressed to zero, and you have still life, inanimated matter. It takes billions of years for nature to find the right path. Billions of relentless trials and errors, which nature is equipped with, because every quantum phenomenon with these multifications is a trial and error to find the right path. But that is a minority path. Around us, the rule is inanimated matter, and so you can say that life, which is this very statistically disfavored amplification, is completely unnatural, awkward, or very, very infrequent. So this is the message of science for the moment. Not precise answers, but choices.
No, I understand.
And opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So Dr. Damiano made us understand that science often provides answers which are opposite to what is existent and commonly believed in. And initially, it used to be thought that it is deterministic. If you leave the pen, it will fall down. So it is sure that present, if I leave the pen, the future, it will fall down. So past, present, and future they are deterministic in nature. But once you enter into quantum mechanics, the microscopic nature of things are not like this. They are not deterministic. A simple past can provide many options in present, and one present can have many options in future, because an atom may move in any direction. An electron may move in variety of directions. It may choose from many options. And then, is it about the privilege that one option will be chosen? Then Dr. Damiano said, no, any option will be chosen, and then they have equal in opportunity. So there is an equality in science. But when it comes to compassion, he said, science is detached and neutral. Science has equality, but science is detached and neutral about it. Is just like a throw of dice. When you throw, there are many options, and one of the options will be picked. And he also said that when all atoms put together, you get a matter. The same atom, when atoms are put together, some matter become animated, some are not animated. So in nutshell, he said science has equality, but science is mum about compassion. It is detached and it is neutral. It provides you an opportunity to explore in your life. Thank you very much for a beautiful explanation. From quantum physics point of view, there is nothing called compassion. It comes in neutral. It is neutral and in between. So now I will go to the, we have got our another guest, if he's okay. So now I'll continue with that topic of compassion. And I'll again ask Dr. Triani that when God is love, Dr. Triani, in history, we have seen many such incidences which have which are as a scar on this concept of love. In 1562, there was a slave trade where slaves were abused. And then we acknowledge your presence, Haji Sayyid Salman Chishti ji. Namaste. So, slave trade, and the ship in which slaves used to be traded, the name of that ship they kept as Jesus. It's so bad to listen to even. There was a president of a very powerful country of the world. Once he said about red Indians, Indians are destined to vanish under the pressure of white civilization. So I would like to have a quick remark from you, Dr. Triani. How do you see this, where people go wrong from the original message of Bible?
Okay. Christianity does not simply state the equality of a man. It declares the brotherhood of a man. Jesus had precisely given his life for every man, without distinction of race, culture, or social class. Already in the first Christian community, there was the awareness that the message of Jesus was a universal message, intended for every man and not for the Jewish people alone, as revealed by the discussion between Paul and Peter. Already Paul affirmed that there is no longer any Jew or slave, because all are equal in Christ. Some historians, for example, have reproached Christianity for the church has not fought enough episodes like slavery. In fact, however, history has shown that the human rights were conceived within the thought of the church, because the first documents that defend the Amazon's slaves are documents conceived inside the church. Even the right to religious freedom is greatly developed in the theology of the church, because the Second Vatican Council, the largest gathering of the church, published a document called Dignitatis Humanae. This document defends the right to the religious freedom on the basis of the dignity and the equality of man. This document of the Second Vatican Council should be remembered together with another document, Nostra Aetate, because with this other document, the Church opened itself to interreligious dialogue and considered all religions equal, at least in the sense that it recognized and affirmed that in every religion there is truth and holiness. If in other religions there are differences according to the birth condition, Christianity recognizes that the fundamental equality of man. The Bible, in fact, states that every man is created in the image of God. Christian tradition pointed out that every man is equal as every man was created in the image of Christ.
Thank you. So beautifully you put it. As he reaffirmed, Dr. Triani reaffirmed that Christianity believes that it is against racism, it is against slavery, and it believes in equality of man, universal. The message of Christ is not only for Jews, it is a universal message for everybody, as God has created us in his own image. Now we have another guest with us, Dr. Mr. Haji Sayyid Salman Chishti ji. We welcome you in this beautiful discussion. So a question to you, we are discussing on compassion, the concept of compassion in different religions. We'll be very happy if you provide us some insights on concept of compassion in Islam.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Greeting of peace to all of you. I begin with the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and most compassionate. As I said, Salam Alaikum, which means peace be upon all of you. So without compassion, not only Islam, but any faith and the existence of human life wouldn't have been possible on the planet Earth. It is this aspect of compassion of existence of all the creation that has evolved over hundreds and thousands of years since the evolution into this planet Earth. I give my word that I was supposed to join at 7, but because of the prayer time, evening prayer time, I missed the beginning part. But I'm sure very important deliberations and discussions have been unfolded, as I see all the revered elders and masters here, including you, Dr. Vikrant Tumar Sahab. So compassion lies at the central essence of our existence. As in Persian and in the classical Sufi terminology, it's so known as the Gunel. Gunel is like the most sacred part of the heart. And the most innermost sacred part of the heart is filled with the aspects of compassion. Because each deed that we are destined to and which leads the path that we are being sent to this world to realize the purpose of our own creation. It is very important to know and acknowledge that we all souls that have been sent to this world, each and individual have a purpose. No, not a single soul or not a single creation is here without a purpose. It's a different thing that in the modern pursuits of, you can say, the blind materialistic pursuits, that often the irony of the 21st century progression and aggressive inputs towards calling ourselves as very, very developed countries, or putting all our energy through just progressive notes. But at the same time, this blind materialistic pursuit, if we are not conscious to the sacred treasure that we carry within ourselves, and just run after the visible so-called worldly acquaintance of worldly treasure, we leave this part of compassion in our heart on this pursuit of blind materialistic accumulation. So once we are, after our educative years, after our grooming days, if we step out to the real practical world, if we step out without the aspect of compassion, as I said that the opening greetings in Islam, when you talk about Islamic philosophy or Sufism, Tasawwuf, the sacred trust that has been bestowed upon you with the kadma, which is the proclamation of the oneness of God, which is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And with this we acknowledge all the prophets from Adam to Prophet Muhammad, including Prophet Moses alayhi salam, Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all those prophets that have been sent. And if you look at the life, their whole life has been circulated among the most compassionate teachings. When you look at the, our dear Dr. Paolo talked about Jesus and the compassion. I missed out on the earlier notes, but when we talk about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the environment that the revelation was sent to him through the archangel prophet, the angel Gabriel, the atmosphere of the pagan understanding of the Arabs at that time was based upon cruelty, upon hoarding, upon suppressing people who were at their disposal. So in that environment, Prophet ﷺ was revealed at the Mount Hira, at the cave, where the first revelation came. And the first revelation was Iqra Bismi Rabbika, that read in the name of your Lord, who is most merciful and most compassionate. From then on, the journey of challenges of the prophethood and in that environment, where there was no room for mercy, justice, and compassion. It was all, as they say that in India, as they say that jiski lati usi ki bhains, which means like those who hold the whip, they call the shot of the day, and there is no room for any just environment. And throughout his prophecy, the time that he spent in Mecca and Medina, these were full of these challenges. And just with the strength of compassion, he could overcome and change the heart of such a stone-hearted community that he was sent to. And this was the case of earlier prophets. They had challenges from their own communities where they were their own people, and it is the same situation in India. If we talk about the gurus, the rishis, and the munis over 5,000 years of history, and there's always the first challenges from your own community where you are. So if we are able, we cannot confront them, we cannot fight them, but with compassion we can surely win the heart. So compassion is is that strength that changed the heart, and inshallah we win the heart to come together as a human family.
Thank you. Thank you, Haji Salmanji. As Salmanji said, that the basic message of Islam is peace be upon all of you, and this is what they call in Salam Walaikum. And he said the important part of heart is Gunel, the sacred part of heart filled with compassion. Allah is also called as Rahim, all merciful. And he said that throughout the life of Prophet, he displayed this quality of being merciful. I read somewhere then when he was thrown, when stones were thrown on Muhammad Sahab, the Prophet, still he was giving blessings to others. Even like when Jesus was crucified, still he was asking for forgiveness for everybody. So with such a beautiful tradition, such a beautiful religions we have, with so much compassion in the core of everybody, where have we lost it? Would come to the question, with this question to Dr. Pierre. Such a beautiful thing that you said, Dr. Pierre, that grace of God and Bahaism believe in unity beyond every divides. Where have we lost it in between?
Well, I cannot answer for others, of course. But I would say that Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i religion, said that religion must be conducive to love and unity among mankind. For if it be the cause of enmity and strife, the absence of religion is preferable. So I think
Can you repeat what you said?
Religion must be conducive to love and unity among mankind. For if it be the cause of enmity and strife, the absence of religion is preferable.
Wow.
So I think it's the first time a religion said it's better to have no religion than to be a religion which does bad things and which is bad for other people.
In such small words, so profound thing he said, that Baha'i religion says this, that religion is for love and unity. And if religion fails for it, it is better to have no religion if religion is failing to bring love and unity. So an interesting question comes to my mind, and I'll certainly go for Dr. Damiano for this question. Does atom has a religion, Dr. Damiano? I don't know. Like we all are made up of atoms. Haji Sayyid Salman ji is combination of atom. I am also accumulation of atom. Similarly, Dr. Triani and Dr. P also. I just want to know the basic constituent unit of all of our existence. Nobody can answer it better than you here. Does atom has a religion? What is the religion of atom?
Atom is part of nature, so it's physics, and it has freedom of generating creatively a choice among several options, and that's what nature is about. And in nature, you do not find the laws of physics, no sign of will, for example, intentionality of. It's just blind choice, free choice among the several options. You might want to know what is the place of mankind in the universe, for example, to guess where physics leads to. Well, if you think of us as amplifiers of those phenomena from the microscopic scale to the macroscopic scale, and you ask yourselves, how frequently can that occur in the universe? How many inhabited planets are there? Then I took the time to make this calculation, and I found an upsetting answer. All the times. Basically, anytime there is a chance, life will form. We are not alone. That would mean, just to give a perspective of how important we are for nature, or not important, might be your conclusion, there should be one inhabited planet per star. That would mean 100,000 billions of inhabited planets in the visible portion of the universe, which is a grain of sand in the Sahara Desert of the universe. So when we think that the world was made for us, that we have a special place, we may think again, because we might have not a second chance, because nature might not give us a second chance. We may be one of the many throws of dice that nature tries here and there and phase here and then continues there. So I do not want to say that this is a religion. This is just a state of facts, actually. And I don't even want to claim that I know what is ahead of us, because nature is precisely that uncertainty I was telling you about. And this unpredictability is what makes it so interesting, at least to me.
So Dr. Damiano said that atom has freedom as its religion. Atom generates creativity. It has choices among many options. And the condition of man in this universe is not all that important, as man gives importance to himself. There must be one inhabited planet for every star, as per his research. And then he says there are hundreds and thousands of billions of inhabited planets, and equal to the speck of sand in the Sahara Desert. And I guess many of the religions give that emphasis, that trust on this universal intelligence in whatever name you call it. Like Dr. Damiano said, the nature chooses. And we are just nothing more than a throw of dice of nature, this whole existence. So in many of the religions, it is said that don't give that much importance to yourself. You are nothing in front of that all-knowing intelligence. Whatever name you would like to call, Dr. Damiano is calling it nature. Somebody may call it Brahman, somebody may call it Allah, somebody may call it God in different names. Now my next question will again go to Dr. Triani. Dr. Saab, this compassion and equality, this compassion is for whom? When I say whom, does it mean compassion for every man, or compassion for the man who follows a particular religion, or compassion is for animals also, not only man, or compassion is for even plants also? So when we say compassion, is it only for man who follow this religion, or for every man, or for animals also included, or for even trees and this whole ecosystem included? Compassion for whom?
Okay, for everybody, for the planet. The Bible has been accused of being cause of the ecological disasters in the modern world, because the book of Genesis seems to convey man's dominion over the creature. It would feed the belief that man has a despotic primacy over creation. Pope Francis, in his encyclical inspired by San Francis, Laudato Si, affirmed that this reading key must be corrected, and it does not mean dominion over nature. Regarding the love towards nature, many names could be mentioned. I like to recall a Nobel Peace Prize winning theologian, Albert Schweitzer, who gave up academic life and a musical career to work as a doctor in Africa and to care for the sick. He was also vegetarian, and he created the slogan "Respect for Life," with which he wanted to establish a universal ethic. Today, a spiritual ecology is emerging in the church. Today, we are also beginning to talk about a Christian vegetarianism. I myself wrote a book to found a theology of vegetarianism. Pope Francis, with his encyclical Laudato Si, began the ecological revolution of the church.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Triani said that Bible is at times being blamed wrongly for saying that there is a man dominion over the nature in that news boat and everything. But actually it is man's love towards the nature. And then there is a new revolution, ecological revolution in Christianity, and a Nobel laureate gave his whole life for with a message to respect every form of life, and to he also became vegan and vegetarianism. I'll go to Haji Sayyid Salmanji also with the same question. Salmanji, compassion to whom? As I gave four options: compassion for man, when I say man, human who follow a particular path, one, or compassion for everybody on the planet, every human on the planet, or compassion for non human species also on the planet. Even this compassion will embrace whole ecosystem, including plants. So, what is that compassion Islam talks about? What is the definition?
Well, as I mentioned earlier about the essence of serving and walking the path and realizing the purpose of your own creation being sent to this planet Earth is revolved and centered about the essence that you carry within your heart in the form of compassion. And it is certainly, it's for all of creation, as I talked during our telephonic conversation, and the message of Khaja Gharib Nawaz, the Moinuddin Chishti from 11th century, the place that we serve in the heart of Rajasthan. It said that if you want to be close to the Creator, be in service towards the creation. And creation is, in a sense, is not only human being. Human being is part of the creation, but not itself. So it's the minute particle of dust also is part of the creation. And we have so many teachings and the practical ways of Prophet ﷺ and teaching from the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah, the ways of the Prophet, which was continued by the awliya, the Sufis, the saints, where compassion formed the essence of their life. As one of the most visible story during the time of Prophet ﷺ was that how he hugged a tree when he heard the tree crying in his absence, because the first place in Medina where he had migrated from Mecca, before the mosque came up, he used to give his teaching under a tree. And after some time, when a space was reserved with some dates, plants, seeds, they made the shed and they put up a place for mosque, which is now known as the Prophet's Mosque today. And when the Prophet ﷺ started teaching at that mosque, and in night he would hear the tree sobbing, and that the tree was missing the Prophet and his teaching. He would go and hug the tree and say, even if I'm not teaching here, my presence and my care is with you. So these are the very humble teachings and the practical ways that have been passed on from Sina Basina, which is heart-to-heart transformation of knowledge. Not every word that is written and which has been missed through that, most of them is carried forward with the heart teaching. So every particular aspect of creation is full of compassion, and so we as human beings hold a special duty, special care towards to care them, because when we talk about the bees, we talk about animals, we talk about trees, plants. There are ways that it's been explained that how you have to deal with the beast of the burden, not to overburden them, how to feed them, how to care. So many numerous of examples are there that we have to live in a daily life, being compassionate to everything that exists, which is seen with the eyes and which is even unseen with the eyes.
Thank you. Such a beautiful elaboration. Thank you, Salman Saab. Salman Saab said that compassion is in the heart of Islam. He said that in 11th century, Khwaja Chishti said that be compassionate. If you really want to know Allah and the God, then start serving the creation. Then only you can know the Creator well. And even Hadith, Sunnah always talks about it. He also narrated a story from the life of Prophet, how when trees under which Prophet used to meditate and do namaz, when he shifted to some other place, those trees started missing him and crying for him. Then Prophet himself went and hugged those trees. Such a beautiful anecdote you said. And that's why I read some word called Rahmatul Lil Alameen. It is somebody who is compassionate for whole alam, for whole universe, if I am right in that. Yes. So now with the same question, I'll come to Dr. P.A., Mr. P.A. also. Compassion to whom, Mr. P.A.?
Well, one of the first teaching of the Baha'i religion is the earth is but one country and mankind its citizen, which means that we don't have a notion of others. When we talk about man and women, about mankind, we talk about everybody being a believer in whatever religion. It doesn't matter. And of course, we should show consideration to the animal, not only because we need them to live on this planet, but also because if you should be even kinder to animal than to your fellow man, said Abdul Baha, because animal cannot complain. If a man has a problem, he can go and complain to the authorities, and which an animal cannot do. So you should be kind to every human being and to every animal too.
Perfect. So, as Salmanji said, that be compassionate even to the dust, even to speck of everything of this creation. Mr. P.A. also added that Baha'i religion sees that earth itself is a country and every man is a religion of a citizen of it. There is no notion to others, like of others, no notion of others. Like once Raman Maharshi was asked how to deal with others, how to behave with others, Raman Maharshi replied, there are no others. Everybody is connected to you. And as he said that, love animals not because you need them, love animals because they don't have language, they can't speak, they can't complain. So we need to become their voice also. Such a beautiful thing you added. Now we will certainly go to quantum physics to know about, as you said that quantum physics is neutral about compassion, no privileges to anybody, neutral. What about eco-friendliness? What about nature's approach towards nature? And does the atom from whom I as a man are made, the animals are made of some other kind of atoms, and trees are made of some other kinds of atoms. I don't know. I'm asking a layman question. Does atom also are different in us, and that's why I'm man? Somebody is tree and somebody is animal. What quantum physics says in that? You may need to. Yes, carry on.
Yeah, the atoms are all the same in every part of nature, animated or inanimated, and they are just composed in different ways, but they compose and decompose continuously. So we have to understand that nature is active because of quantum uncertainty, and that's something astonishingly different from the idea of determinism. And if it is active, it is alive everywhere at the microscopic level. And from time to time, this vitality pops up at the macroscopic scales. But as I told you before, if we, as human beings, understand that we are not important for nature, then maybe a little bit of arrogance will disappear, because we think we are super intelligent and that we can solve every problem, and we do not proceed cautiously often, and then nature sends us, I don't know, some COVID, and 1.5 years is gone. The entire planet is taken by a small thing. So we should be cautious. And however, you can say, okay, then let's use science to model the future. Well, I have to tell you something, because I study quantum physics, quantum field theory, and quantum gravity, which means elementary phenomena, elementary particles, elementary interactions. Those are the deepest, but they are the simplest ones. And there we can write down laws of physics which are very clear, although they allow for that chance and freedom. But when you go to macroscopic phenomena, made of many, many atoms, it's very difficult to make models and predict, for example, what should we do so that for the benefit of mankind in 100 or 200 years, in the long term. And there are some colleagues of mine who study that kind of physics, and they claim they have models. I wish I could. I knew what to suggest in order to make our life last longing. But unfortunately, for the unpredictability of nature and for the huge number of variables that are involved, models of these complex phenomena are simply not very reliable. Also because if they were, the first thing these people would do is to apply them to the stock market and become rich. And nobody does it because they cannot. So what is the attitude that, towards the rest of nature? If we think that we are not in a privileged position, maybe I think we will have more respect of rest of nature. And another suggestion is be careful. Nature might have been kind with us, but also not necessarily. We think we are very, very smart, but are we? We might not have been provided with enough intelligence to tackle all the problems that are ahead of us. 8 billion people. What if we were 8 million? And what will be the future? How long will it last? These are the problems. But certainly, even if there are many models, and even if it's not reliable to consider one of them or even all of them, science is all we have.
Thank you. Dr. Damiano raised a very important point. Again, would add to Haji Sayyid's point about it, that he said that respect every speck of sand even. And then Dr. Damiano added that all atoms are same. There is no difference in atom. If you call yourself human, accumulation of atom, even animal is an accumulation of atom, what science says, and even trees are accumulation of atom. So we all are atom, and whether animated or not animated together after compilation, but we are atoms, and then we will be destroyed one day. And then he added that nature is active and alive. It means every atom is active and alive. That means every atom is alive. And when there is a life in every atom, there may be different definitions of life. He said, when you see it in microscopic way, every atom has a choice and it exerts the choice. So when everything is alive, so let's respect everything as you respect self. And if you wish to consider yourself too intelligent, then nature will punish with COVID. So he suggested don't consider yourself too privileged and be careful, because kun fayakun. I guess Haji Sayyid in one line can translate what I said for everybody's benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Kun fayakun, be, and it is. It is that the acknowledgement and the consciousness of a higher presence, where in a fraction of moment, in a fraction of second, things can be as it is, as the higher presence wants or intend to be. When we talk about the atom, we have to also acknowledge that atom itself is not the smallest minute particle. There is also within the atom the gradations of the light that passes through. They also form the basis of the strings. When the strings, particulars of string, they come together, that's what the atom is formed of. So to have an understanding that atom is the smallest particular is, I think, not correct. There is within the atom also is part of creation, and that is based upon the light. As we say that light upon light, nur ala nur. So the first form of creation was the light, and through that light, even the existence of atom and everything else was originated. So it is as the deeper we go, the more pearls that you bring out. So everything has a surface, and within the surface there is a deep sea dive. Kun fayakun. It's like be, and it is, and that is where we have to humbly submit. Yes. Submission is the key, Dr. Vikrant Tomar. That's what I've learned in my own life. Unfortunately, at some of the Western understanding, submission is giving up. It is related to giving up. But true submission is freedom. You talked about freedom, right? Dr. Paul also talked about freedom when we are. So true submission is actually freedom, and a point of freedom where nothing owes you and you owe nothing. In essence, everything is borrowed, right? Even these breath that we are taking, these are also borrowed from the Creator. We don't know how many breaths we are carrying within our body. So the true submission is the state where you owe nothing and nothing owes you. That's where the true free men and women and the true they walk the planet Earth in that state of being total submission, which is freedom towards your own being and your own self.
So Haji Sayyid also added the string theory, and he said that, as is in Islam, they say light upon light. And the better way, as Dr. Dimanio said, that don't consider yourself too intelligent. And Salmanji also added that surrender willfully. It is not giving up. It is actually nothing owes you and you owe nothing. Even this breath is not in your control, leave alone the universe or anything more than that. So with that discussion, now we have many questions coming from different parts of the world. So let me pick some questions, and I would request Sukhdev ji from Germany, who is an honorary advisor of United Consciousness. Sukhdev ji has a big yoga ashram called Yoga Vidya. Sukhdev ji will be very happy to know your question. And if you raise the question, and then if you permit, I will route the question to the expert.
So one purpose of United Consciousness is to create a manual for humanity. How can you develop compassion? How can you develop this divine capacity that all religions talk about? How can you increase it?
That's a very important question. And in fact, the question is so beautiful that I would request every expert to give only 2 tips in very brief, point-to-point tips without elaboration. Beautiful question. When compassion is in the heart of every religion, how to develop it? And for Dr. Demanio, the question will be, if it is not compassion, if equality, if we say, is there in the nature, how to bring that understanding in common human life also. How to connect this microscopic word with that macroscopic word. When you have understood there is a divine intelligence, if you say divine, universal intelligence or nature, how to bring that understanding to every human being, that every speck is intelligent, every atom or the microparticle is intelligent. So I'll come to these questions with first Dr. Triani, 2 pointers how to develop compassion, specific pointers.
I will be very, very quick. 4 words. Attention, first. Solidarity, second. Mutual knowledge, and responsibility.
Perfect. So you said first is attention, you said.
Yes.
Attention, solidarity, acknowledging all, and taking responsibility. Perfect. Thank you very much. May I have Dr. P.A. to answer it?
With what Dr. Triani said, and I would add that we should remember that we all the center of the world. I am the center of the world, but everybody is the center of the world. That should help the relation between people.
That's very important. He said that everybody is the center of the world. Everybody is the center of his own world, and you consider, as you love yourself, love others also, and give them equal importance. Salmanji, Haji Salmanji.
That's a very good question also, and I think if we are into the state of acknowledging that we are nothing but just a medium, wasila, we call it wasila. If we acknowledge that and be in the state of mediation as the wasila of compassion, because that compassion is also being sent through us to the one who are destined to receive from our presence or wherever we are placed into this planet Earth. So one important aspect is to acknowledge yourself as a medium towards this compassion, and as we walk wherever we are, It is first we have to have compassion for yourself, for people around you, and then the heart should know that there should be no discrimination, no distinction upon whom you are serving. That is the most important essence of being compassionate. That's what Khaja Sahib has said. Develop yourself as three attributes of nature: sun like grace, river like generosity, and earth like hospitality.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Dr. Damiano, how can we connect that micro to macro?
So equality is not uniformity, but nature points to equality in diversity. The richness of diversity is everywhere. So to appreciate the richness of diversity in nature and in the other beings is to start looking for options that nobody considers and put yourself in the point of view of those people who are extreme minorities, consider and possibly avoid uniformity and do not take anything for granted.
Perfect. Perfect. So thank you very much for amazing answers. Dr. Damiano said that don't take anything for granted and start looking things from others' perspective also. There is equality in diversity also. So appreciate diversity and don't see divisions, because we all are born out of the same atoms or the basic elements. So now another question. For another question, I'll request Swami Suryananda ji from Italy. Swami Suryananda ji is also honorary advisor of United Consciousness. He is also president of European Yoga Federation. Swamiji, your question, then I will route it to the right person.
With your permission, can you open the microphone, Amelia G, that
Okay,
I
fine.
can tell something about compassion?
Okay.
So, quello che voglio dire è questo, che la compassione parte dalla compassione verso se stessi.
What I would like to say today, that compassion starts considering compassion within ourselves, from ourselves.
A volte l'uomo è molto tormentato da non essere compassionevole verso i suoi limiti, verso le sue capacità.
Sometimes mankind, the men, are so much into trouble that they start not to have compassion towards his own limits, his own very mean part.
La compassione e il perdono viaggiano insieme.
Compassion and the pardon, they travel together.
Molte persone si rovinano la vita perché non sono capaci di perdonarsi dei loro errori.
A lot of people, they ruin their life because they are not able to be compassionate and to pardon themselves.
Grazie, Amelia. Thank you so much. My question is,
Yes.
now I want to refer to equality and diversity. We read in the Rig Veda, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Avadanti. Truth is one. Sages call it by various names. In the context where diversity reveals itself as an extensive beauty of the infinite divine expression, could you kindly shed light and clarify the concept of equality and equity in practical terms? Please.
So Swamiji, your question, I guess, is more suited for Dr. Damiano, because he used that word, equality in diversity. Dr. Damiano, Swamiji is asking a verse from Vedas that I am one and I will become many. And saints and seers calls me with variety of names. So in this light, how would you like to explain the concept of equality in diversity? Would you like to elaborate some more about it?
Yes, so diversity in nature is not the exception, it's the rule. It's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, it's relentless. Nature is a generator of diversity everywhere, all the time, and with that it explores all possible paths. And precisely because it explores all of them, not excluding any option, you also have equality. For example, trial and error. We often hear this combination of words, trial and error. Most trials are errors, but actually it's not true because there is no definition, absolute definition of error. The same trial will be repeated over and over again, and in certain conditions it is an error, and in some other conditions the same trial is a success. And so you have an extreme equality in diversity.
Thank you, Dr. Dalgiani.
Thank you very much. And as he said, that diversity is a rule and equality is a fact. And I loved the way you said it. Most trials are actually errors. And then when you repeat it, then they become the fact later on. Perfect. So we are receiving some questions from different parts of the world. Would like to read one question. So somebody asked that when Prophet was thrown with the stones, he was blessing. And actually, he used my sentence to ask the question from all of you. And when Christ was crucified, he was wishing forgiveness. When such high morals and values are there, then from where such narrow definitions of jihad and holy wars come into existence? And world is really sick of such wars in the name of religion. Yes, it's a sensitive question. Would like to request Haji Sayyid Salmanji. It will be great if you could define also this most misunderstood word jihad in one or two lines and would answer this briefly.
Greetings. Yes, it is an important aspect to understand the word jihad, which is much misunderstood and also misused at the same time by those who claim to be engaging in jihad for their own egoistic pursuits, egoistic political pursuits, military pursuits, and expansionism in the name of faith and religion. So those who are true understanding of faith, jihad itself, the word translate as striving, struggle for goodness, struggle that we all are doing. Even now, when we are together from different parts of the world at the United Consciousness platform, I can see different parts of the world and different elders are here. So we are also engaged in a jihad of creating awareness towards united consciousness that we all carry with it. This is struggle. This is our struggle. This is the challenges. So when you engage yourself, that is the jihad itself, Jaddojahad. You must have heard that a very common denomination in daily life in India, we say Jaddojahad. That is coming from jihad, which is striving. So those who engage in expansionism or their own egoistic pursuit, they have no understanding of the concept of mercy, compassion, and coming together as a human family. Those groups are the ones who have utilized these, misused these words. And obviously, there is a whole lot of report, a whole lot of media analysis which revolves around the word. And they forget that they stuck with the word jihad, but also at the same time, when people say Allahu Akbar or they use the religious chants for prayers, they also get confused between those who are praying or those who are using it as a political tool. So we have to differentiate those who use it as a political tool or those who are engaging in the right, because the Jihad Akbar, the greater struggle, what Prophet ﷺ said, that is to fight your own nafs. Nafs is the ego, the lower self, which provoke us to stay like greed, lust. So we have to be in continuous jihad with our own self, the lower self, the nafs. That is the Jihad al-Akbar.
Amazing. Beautiful answer. Thank you very much. As Salmanji said that Jihad Akbar, jihad itself is striving for goodness. And the biggest jihad is when you fight against your own lower self or ego. As they say that fools fight with others' ego and wise people fight with their own ego. Beautifully said, Salmanji. Thank you very much. Now we'll be receiving answer from Dr. Triani. When such high morals are there in our scriptures, then why such narrow-mindedness, wars in the name of religion happen on this planet?
Amelia, can I ask your help for translation? Okay.
Yeah.
Che cosa ha chiesto di preciso? La domanda riguardava...
Ok, sì, ti
la
chiedeva
domanda.
se, visto che nelle religioni c'è tutta questa morale, c'è tutto questo bel pensare, cos'è che ci ha diviso?
Okay. I can also answer to the first question, because from a Christian point of view, we are persons, diversity, in the universal person, Christ, identity. If you can translate, Amelia,
Sì.
vorrei dire che purtroppo, come dire, le etiche hanno una componente umana e gli uomini sono peccatori. Può succedere che anche se c'è una rivelazione etica da parte di Dio, gli uomini sono imperfetti.
Unfortunately, we have to say that ethics is coming from human humankind, and the humanity is we are human, we are not divine. So even though we receive directly from God the ethical rights and the ethical information, unfortunately they pass through humankind, that they are imperfect.
Okay. So he said that the message is perfect, the messenger is perfect, but the man who are following it, they superimpose their imperfection on that. So beautifully said. Thank you. A quick reflection on the same question, Mr. P.A. Mr. P.A. may need to unmute themselves. Yes. Please.
Okay.
No. Yes.
Okay. I think I shared everything which has been said up to now. I would just say that the one image we have in the Baha'i religion is that man is like a mine full of diamonds, but to find the diamonds, you have to remove a lot of dirt, a lot of earth. So it's a constant fight against oneself, which is the jihad, like Mr. Shisti said.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now, Sukhdevji, would you like to ask any question? Or I have many other questions also. If you have any question, you can begin.
How can you forgive injustice done to you, which is often the source of lack of compassion?
So
and
the question
like
is
revolving. It's like revolving. You receive injustice and you forward it. How can you break the circle?
how can you break the circle of this injustice? Because when you are put to injustice, then you also end up doing injustice. How can you forgive people? So perfect. So one-liner answer, because time is less in the interest of time. Only one-liner answer we will expect from all the guests. So first we'll receive answer from Dr. Triani. How can we forgive others?
Come perdonare gli altri, vero Amelia? La domanda è questa. Maybe, traduci questo Amelia, aiutami. Forse la risposta l'ha data Swami Suryananda, incominciando a perdonare noi stessi.
Maybe we can find the right answer in the answer that Swami Suryananda ji gave to us. Maybe we can start in forgiving ourselves.
Okay. Forgive self to forgive others. Thank you very much. Salmanji, when bad happens to me, how can I forgive others?
Sabr.
One liner.
Patience is a virtue, and because justice in Islam, one of the 99 names of Allah is Al-Hakim, the judge. So not to take the onus of judging everybody by ourselves, by its laws, but sabr gives you the strength, patience give you the strength to be in the state where you can, in the state that brings you to the second state of compassion, where you will be forgiving even if you have been served with injustice. And
Thank
that's a very, very high maqam of spiritual consciousness that obviously comes with a lot of trials and tribulations.
Thank you. Mr. PA, when bad happens to me, how can I forgive others?
I would say that we should try to look at others like God looks at others. And this is part of the jihad we talked about before.
Perfect, perfect. Look at others as God looks at others. Dr. Damiano, does nature take revenge? Is there any theme of revenge in nature?
So maybe the way to break the circle is to go with knowledge of nature, maybe knowledge of our place in nature that can help tone down our arrogance.
Amazing, amazing. He said that know your true nature and it will break down all your arrogances. Perfect. So we got amazing tips from our respected guests from all parts of the world. So let's conclude what we discussed today with our eminent guests and advisors of United Consciousness. So we understood this, that in this journey, Dr. Damiano said that science at times talks about opposite to the basic beliefs. And then he said that whatever is visible at the macro level, it is exactly opposite at the micro level. Macro level, life is deterministic, but in micro level, life is not that deterministic. There are freedom, there are choices, and these choices, there may be blind choices, and there is no privilege for anybody. It is completely equal. Everybody is equal in choices. And that's why, and universe is completely detached. In Bhagavad Gita, they say detachment is the rule. If you are attached, it will seek pain. It will bring pain. So detached and be neutral. Samatva bhavam, as Gita said. And this is what he said, quantum physics also said. And then we are nothing but a throw of dice. And then he said that his whole universe is made up of atoms only made up some animated, some non-animated, but yes, water, human beings, animal, whom you love, whom you hate, everything is made up of the same atom, and everything is alive. And because everything is alive, then respect everybody as you respect yourself. Don't consider yourself too intelligent. A scientist himself is saying this, whose work is about intelligence only. He warned everybody that don't consider yourself too intelligent, because there is a universal intelligence, call it by any name, is working around us, and otherwise you'll suffer by COVID-like situations. And then understand this, that to understand the attitude of nature is no privileges, just be careful about it. Then we have expert from Baha'i faith. So beautifully he mentioned that God is grace, and it should encompass all the religion and focus on humanity. Anything which works against ignorance and hate is good, and it should work on unity. Love and unity is the message. And if a religion cannot bring love and unity, we don't need such a religion. Such a profound thing. Mr. P.A. said. Mr. P.A. also added that everybody is the center of the world, not only you. Everybody is the center of the world. When you consider everybody as the center of the world, then certainly you become compassionate towards others. Then we have Dr. Triani. He said the essence of Bible is love. God is love. Jesus gave his life to the enemies out of compassion. And then he took everybody's sin on him. And that brotherhood is the message of Bible. Beyond any race or religion, class and creed, Jesus was a universal man. He always opposed slavery. All religions are equal, and God has created human in his own image, he said. And that's why that message of Bible should not be read as that human has the dominion over other creatures. No, it is humans' love for every other creature. And there is a new wave of being vegetarianism in Christianity because compassion is for everybody, not for only fellow human beings. He also mentioned that attention, solidarity, acknowledgement, and responsibility should be the message. Then we had respected Haji Salman ji. He started his talk with Salam Walaikum. He said, peace be upon you. Islam is the message of peace to the world. And he said that Gunal, the sacred part of heart, is the part of compassion. And he said, God is love. And everybody who has come on the planet has come with a purpose. Allah is Rahim. And he also said that the message of compassion is the message of 11th century Father Chishti. He said, if you really want to serve the Creator, start serving the creation. This is the way. And this is what Hadith and Sunnah also tells us. As Jesus, as Prophet hugged the trees with love. And he said, Sina Basina, heart to heart translation, when you love people, when you are compassionate towards every bees, animal, plants, seen and even he said unseen things, love everything. खुदा उस एहसास का नाम है जो रहे सामने और दिखाई न दे. Universal intelligence remains present and may not be seen by everybody. He also added that even the string theory, not only atom, string theory teaches us light upon light and surrender. Surrender gives you freedom. And nobody owes you, you owes nobody, and that gives you a freedom. Even this breath is not yours own. He also gave a message of that just be a medium, compassion for self and for around. Don't discriminate. And as he said, three things: just learn from sun like grace, river like generosity, and third thing I forgot. You can help me.
Earth like hospitality.
Earth like, so beautiful. Earth like hospitality, bring these things itself. And this is what we understood as a message. We had so beautiful questions from our respected guest here, Sukhdev ji from Germany, Swami Suryananda ji from Italy. And the message from everybody was, the question was how to forgive others. Forgive self first. Have patience, don't judge others. Look at others as God looks at others. And don't be arrogant in your knowledge. Otherwise, nature will smash you. And we are also told that jihad means an internal struggle, fight with your own lower self. And Mr. P.A. said that in order to find the diamond, you need to remove the dust. Removing that dust is the jihad. Dr. Dimiano said that diversity is the rule and equality is the fact. And keep on doing trial and error till you reach to a higher level of consciousness and understanding. Such a beautiful message from everybody. I would like to utilize this stage today to have a prayer in our own ways for this global peace and living together in peace. So I will request one after another any prayer from Baha'i faith, Christianity, Islam, or I don't know, I know nothing about quantum physics. If quantum physics talks about something which is for the peace of the world, any message from quantum physics or living together in peace, we'll be very happy to listen from you. I would like to request Sukhdevji also to join in this. I would like to request Swami Suryananda ji also to join in this, and Emilia ji will also join in that. So maybe in 30 seconds, every person from their own religion, let's give a message of living together in peace. Let's pray for the global peace together. So we'll begin with maybe Dr. Triani. Any message or any prayer from Bible in 30 to 60 seconds for global peace? Any prayer, anything from? Yes? Can you repeat again?
Good is love. This is the prayer.
God is love. Such a beautiful message for whole humanity. If you love, it is God. Thank you very much. A message from Baha'i religion. Any prayer, any message, anything.
I'll say a short prayer. O thou compassionate God, bestow upon me a heart which, like unto a glass, may be illuminated with the light of thy love, and confer upon me a thought which may change this world into a rose garden through thy spiritual bounty. Thou art the compassionate, the merciful, thou art the great beneficent God. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for these prayers for the benefit and peace in the world. We'll request Haji Sayyid Salman Chishti ji also for prayers from Islam for the global peace.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The Surah Al-Kawthar, which is abundance, we say, Inna atayna kal kawthar. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Inna shaniyaka huwal abtar. It is the fountain of abundance which has been bestowed upon mankind, upon the creation, which is mentioned in the Holy Quran. And we have recited this also 2 years back before the COVID in 2018 when we were in Assisi, as I see a lot of our elders are from Italy. So it is this blessing that has been invoked at the tomb of Saint Francis, which I visited with, as a part of the national delegation. And I would like to conclude, as I always do, with the last message and the teachings of Khaja Gharib Nawaz, which is so profound, which literally formed the foundation of service, Khizmat-e-Khalq, among the Chishti Sufi order. It's just few lines which have been translated. If we have time, if you permit, I'll just conclude that on. Where Khaja Gharib Nawaz has asked us, love all and hate none. Mere talk of peace will avail you not. Mere talk of God and religion will not take you far. Bring out all the latent powers of your being and reveal the full magnificence of your immortal self. Be overflowing with peace and joy and scatter them wherever you are, wherever you go. Be a blazing fire of truth. Be a beauteous blossom of love and be a soothing balm of peace. With your spiritual light, this is very important to reflect, with your spiritual light, dispel the darkness of ignorance, dissolve the clouds of discord and war, and spread goodwill, peace, harmony among the people. Never seek any help, charity, or favors from anybody except God. Never go to the courts of the king, but never refuse to bless and help the needy and the poor, the widows, the orphan, if they come to your door. This is your mission, to serve the people with justice and compassion. Carry out your duties courageously and compassionately, so that I, as your Pir o Murshid, as your spiritual master, may not be ashamed of any of your shortcomings in front of the Almighty God and our holy predecessor. This really brings tears to our eyes, that even if we are serving in the best of our knowledge, but in any consciously or unconsciously, any shortcoming of ours should not make our spiritual elders ashamed in front of Almighty. And that's where we are so conscious, especially from India, when we interact with a lot of interfaith. And I conclude this with Maulana Rumi's poetry, and that's really the door of hope that India has been always throughout centuries, where Maulana Rumi says, Baza, Baza, Haranche Hasti Baza, Sad Bar Gar Toba Shikasti Baza, Idarga Ima Na Umidin Nist, Idarga Ima Umidast, Umidast, Umidast. Come, 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 whoever you are, come. Even if you have broken your vows of repentance 100 times, come. Our doors are not the doors of despair. Our doors are the doors of hope, hope, hope. And together with Dr. Vikrant Saab, we pray that United Consciousness do become a door of hope, as it has opened the doors for so many people from around the world, from India, to become the door of hope for all. That's our duas and blessings from Ajmer Dargah Sharif. Thank you and salam to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Such a beautiful message. Dr. Damiano, message from quantum physics for global peace and living together in peace.
Yeah, so very briefly, whatever choice in life you make, no matter how unusual it may appear to others, no matter how ostracized it may be, do not hesitate. You do not need to justify yourself. Go for it, because it is natural, pursued by nature, and pursued by nature infinitely many times.
Such a beautiful thing. Thank you very much. Now we'll come to Sukhdev ji for a prayer.
Om, Om, Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings attain peace and harmony. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace be unto all.
Thank you, Sukhdevji. Swami Suryanandaji.
Ami,
Eccomi.
l'uomo ha perso fiducia nella pace.
Mankind has lost trust in peace.
Dipende soltanto da noi ridare fiducia all'umanità.
It depends just on us to give trust again in humanity.
Ripetere questa frase è già religione.
To repeat this sentence is already a religion.
Unity in diversity. Uniti nel rispetto della diversità.
Unite then in respect of diversity.
Pace, pace, pace. Torniamo a crederci e stiamo uniti nell'amore.
Peace, peace, peace. Let's start to believe and trust again in peace, and we stay together in love.
Thank you. So I would like to extend my thank you to all our respected guests, Dr. Damiano, Dr. P.A., Mr. P.A., Dr. Triani, Haji Salman Chishti ji, Shri Sukhdev ji, Swami Suryananda ji, Amelia ji, and all our audience from different parts of the world. Let's together live in peace and make this world a beautiful place so that our kids can be raised in a new and beautiful world of love, compassion, and equality. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being together with us. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Adab, a lot of greetings.
Salam.
Bye bye.